Here are Japan's 10 scariest urban legends. At number 10 is Gozu and Mezu. In Japanese Buddhism, Gozu and Mezu are the demon generals who guard the gates of hell. They appear as terrible oni with animal heads, an ox head for Gozu and a horse head for Mezu. They are extremely powerful and have the strength to move mountains. They serve the great King Enma, the ruler of hell, acting as the enforcers of judgment for the souls of the wicked. Gozu and Mezu are the first demons that one encounters upon entering hell. Should a person manage to escape from hell, Gozu and Mezu are sent out to bring them back. Though Gozu and Mezu are the most famous and most commonly depicted in story and art, they are not the only animal-headed demons in great King Enma's employ. Deer, tiger, lion, and boar-headed demons are also said to serve among the upper ranks of the guardians of hell. Gozu, Mezu, and other animal-headed demons originate in Indian mythology, which was imported along with Buddhism to Japan by way of China. Next at number 9 is Tomino's Hell, the Cursed Poem. This is a specific poem written by Saijo Yaso. Legend dictates that reading it aloud will lead to tragedy, illness, or even death, as you are dragged into Tomino's version of hell. Written in 1919, the poem gained its cursed reputation through online forums like 2chan in the early 2000s, where warnings about reading it aloud spread like wildfire. One famous story involves a Japanese radio host who, as a stunt, began reading the poem live on air. Listeners reported his voice changing, becoming hoarse before the broadcast abruptly cut out. He was reportedly found ill and disoriented, denying he ever read the poem. Read at your own discretion. Number 8 is the Kisaragi Station, or the non-existent stop. The legend began on 2channel, now 5channel, Japan's massive anonymous bulletin board. A user using the handle Hasumi posted that she was traveling on the Enshu Railway in Shizuoka Prefecture. She noted that the train, which usually stopped every few minutes, had been running for nearly 20 minutes without a single stop. Even more unsettling, the other 5 passengers on the car were all fast asleep. When the train finally stopped, it was at Kisaragi Station. Hasumi checked her maps and the official railway schedule. The station did not exist. She described the station as being in a mountain wilderness. There were no houses, no lights, and no people. The GPS on her phone failed to pinpoint her location, showing her in the middle of a wasteland. As she walked along the tracks trying to find a way out, she heard the sound of taiko drums and bells coming from the darkness. She posted that she saw an old man with only one leg standing further down the tracks. When she called out to him, he vanished instantly. Hasumi eventually encountered a friendly man who offered her a ride to a nearby hotel. Despite the warnings from other 2channel users who were replying to her in real time telling her to get out of there, she got into his car. Her last post at 3:44 a.m. read, "The man is driving into the mountains and has stopped talking to me. My battery is running low. I'm going to try to make a run for it." She was never heard from again on the forum for 7 years. In 2011, a user claiming to be Hasumi returned to say she had finally made it back to our dimension. But for her, only a few hours had passed, whereas 7 years had passed in the real world. Number 7 is the Inunaki Village, the lawless town. Inunaki Village is a fictional place in Fukuoka Prefecture, said to be hidden near Mount Inunaki. Its residents supposedly reject the Japanese Constitution. While a real Inunaki village once existed from 1691 to 1889, it has no connection to the legend. The legend describes Inunaki as a tiny village deep in the forest, marked by a sign that says, "The Japanese Constitution is not in effect past here." The most famous legend involves a young couple stranded in the 1970s. As they searched for help, they wandered into the eerie village, where a mad old man was said to be waiting, and neither was ever seen again. There's another story related to the village that tells of a telephone booth near the Inunaki Bridge, which allegedly receives a call from Inunaki Village every night. The person who answers that call will be cursed and transported to the village. The victim of the curse will start to lose control of their body and mind before eventually dying. At number 6 is Kuchisake Onna. Kuchisake Onna is said to be the vengeful spirit of a woman whose life ended in cruelty, returning to wander the world of the living. Her name comes from the unnatural smile etched across her face, a feature so disturbing it has become her defining mark. She appears late at night to those traveling alone, hiding her disfigured mouth behind a surgical mask, a folding fan, or a handkerchief. Under the cover of darkness, Kuchisake Onna approaches her chosen targets and asks a single, unsettling question. "Watashi kirei?" Am I pretty? If the answer is yes, she slowly reveals her face and asks again, in a chilling voice, "Kore demo?" Even now, those who recoil or answer poorly are said to meet a terrible fate, while even those who respond correctly are not always spared. Some legends claim she allows them to leave only to follow silently and return later, ensuring their end is unavoidable. Spirits born from violent or unjust deaths are believed to linger without peace, and Kuchisake Onna is thought to be one such restless soul. During the Edo period, similar encounters were sometimes blamed on kitsune, fox spirits known to disguise themselves as humans to deceive and frighten travelers. By the 20th century, explanations shifted again, with sightings attributed to ghosts, disturbed individuals, or waves of mass panic spreading through communities. Reports of Kuchisake Onna surged across Japan, embedding her deeply into modern folklore. Over time, clever youths claimed they could escape by answering ambiguously or distracting her with small offerings, buying just enough time to flee and disappear into the night. If you're still here, it means you're drawn to these stories. Leave a quiet like, subscribe, and let's continue. Let's move to our top 5 urban legend, aka Manto. Akamanto is a Japanese urban legend about a haunted bathroom stall, usually in an old, rarely used school restroom. The story is popular across Japan, with many local variations. Often, the cursed stall is the fourth, linked to death in Japanese culture. Most versions involve a student staying late, forced to use the creepy, avoided bathroom. After finishing, they realize there's no toilet paper. A mysterious voice then asks, "Do you want red paper or blue paper?" Choosing red paper usually means being attacked until you're soaked in blood. Blue paper means your blood is drained until you turn blue. There are many versions. Sometimes Akamanto is a ghost. Other times, a killer hiding in the stall. In some regions, it's a hairy yokai who just touches the student instead of harming them. Other versions offer different fates: strangulation, skin flayed into a red cape, or being dragged into the netherworld. Some tales let the victim live, but with changed skin color or illness. Sometimes the question changes: red or blue vest, hand or tongue. In rare stories, choosing purple lets you escape, while red means being pulled into the toilet. Usually, escape is impossible. Even bringing your own toilet paper doesn't work. Trying to trick the spirit with an unoffered color leads to a gruesome end, but sometimes calmly saying, "I don't need any paper," lets you escape. AKA Manto dates back to at least the 1930s and remains popular. Its lasting appeal may come from its theme, being forced to answer an impossible question, echoing school anxieties. AKA Manto's look has changed over time. Now shown in a red cloak, but older versions pictured a short jacket. Each generation imagines the spirit differently. Number 4 spot goes to the Red Room Curse or Akai Heya. The Red Room Curse or Akai Heya is an early Japanese internet urban legend about a red pop-up ad which announces the forthcoming death of the person who encounters it on their computer screen. It may have its origin in an Adobe Flash horror animation of the late 1990s that tells the story of the legend. While browsing the internet, the victim will be presented with a red pop-up with text saying, "Do you like red room?" The pop-up will reappear after trying to close it, with text coming out of the vertical line. Over time, the sentence will be completed, reading, "Do you like the red room?" Variations of the legend differ on what happens next. According to the most common one, the screen will turn red, displaying a list of names of the Red Room's victims. The target will sense a mysterious presence behind them, after which they will lose consciousness. They will later be found dead in their home. They were later found lifeless in their home, the room showing signs of a violent struggle. A lesser-known variation states that the target will instead have a crack appear somewhere on their body, which quickly grows in size. In the late 1990s, a Japanese interactive Adobe Flash horror animation, considered to be the origin of the Red Room Curse urban legend, was uploaded to GeoCities. The story describes a young boy who was said to be cursed after seeing the pop-up, and the tale grew into an urban legend. The legend gained widespread attention in 2004 following a tragic incident at a school in Sasebo, where a student was involved in a violent attack. Reports later mentioned that the student had bookmarked the Red Room Curse animation on their computer at the time. The web page in question is no longer available. Number 3 is Harionago or Hook Girl. The fearsome yokai known as Harionago appears at night on the roads of the island of Shikoku. In the dark, they are indistinguishable from ordinary young women, unusual only for their loose, disheveled hair. Upon closer inspection, the tip of each hair is fitted with a needle-like barbed hook. Although if you are close enough to notice these hooks, it is probably already too late. Harionago are said to wander the streets, searching for unsuspecting victims, usually young, single men walking alone. When she finds a target, she smiles softly, testing whether he will return the gesture. If he does, the legend says she reveals her long hair, which moves with unnatural speed and seems to have a mind of its own. The hair is said to ensnare anyone who gets too close, trapping them in a way that leaves them helpless. Once caught, the victim is said to disappear without a trace, leaving only a chilling warning behind. It is technically possible for a very fast runner to escape a Harionago, providing his home is close enough and has a sturdy door or gate. If he can get himself safely indoors before her hooks catch him, he may be able to survive until sunrise, when yokai vanish. The marks she leaves in the wooden doorframe remain as a warning, a reminder to young men not to follow strangers. Number 2 spot goes to Toire no Hanako-san. Toire no Hanako-san is an urban legend about a young girl's ghost who haunts elementary school restrooms. She is the subject of schoolyard legends across Japan, and the details of her story vary from place to place and generation to generation. She is usually said to look like a schoolgirl with bobbed hair, wearing a white shirt and a red skirt with suspenders. In most versions of the story, Hanako-san haunts the third stall in the third-floor toilet of the schoolhouse. If a student knocks on her stall 3 times and asks if Hanako is there, a scratchy voice will reply, "Yes." If the student opens the stall door, Hanako-san is said to drag them into the darkness, never to be seen again. The precise steps to summon her spirit and the way in which she reacts to being called vary greatly from school to school. Some versions of the legend also include methods to escape from Hanako-san, such as by showing her ghost something that she hates. For example, a test sheet with a perfect score, a school lunch milk carton, and so on. Hanako-san's legend has roots dating back as far as the 1950s, but it reached the peak of its popularity in the 1980s and 90s. It is said that nearly every school in Japan had its own legend of Toire no Hanako-san at this time. Many schools invented origin stories for their version of Hanako-san. In some versions, she was a schoolgirl who was being chased by a madman. She ran back to her school and hid in the third-floor restroom, but the man eventually found her, and she was never seen again. Because it was a holiday, nobody found her body for several days. In other versions, she was a student during the Pacific War. She was playing hide-and-seek with her friends and hid in the third-floor bathroom when the air ride sirens went off. She was unable to hear the sirens, so she continued to hide in the stall while her classmates were all evacuated to an air raid shelter. She died in a fire when her school was struck by a bomb, but her spirit continues to hide in that bathroom to this day. Other versions suggest she suffered from ongoing mistreatment, either at home or at school, and she disappeared in that same restroom stall. Another version says a school latrine was accidentally left open, and she tragically fell in. And our number 1 scariest Japan urban legend is Teke Teke. Teke Teke is a ghost from Japanese urban legends, usually seen as a woman missing her lower half. She drags herself quickly on her arms, making a sharp tek-tek sound. That's where her name comes from. She is said to chase people at night, moving with unnatural speed, so fast that no one can outrun her. In the legends, those who are caught often disappear, and the stories warn that escaping is nearly impossible. There are many versions of the Teke Teke story, with different origins depending on the region. Some say she was the victim of a tragic accident, while others claim she took her own life. Some legends suggest charms or rituals can offer protection, while others insist nothing can stop her. In several versions, her victims are said to vanish and become part of the legend themselves. Many tales point to a woman from Hokkaido named Kashima Reiko. One common version says that after World War II, a woman in Hokkaido was injured on a train track and left alone, unable to get help. She was said to have suffered for a time before dying. The legend claims that if you hear her story, she may come looking for you within 3 days, no matter how fast you run or even if you drive. Some say she is searching for what she lost, while others say she is driven by anger and loneliness. In some versions, she may appear in dreams or contact you in other ways, asking unsettling questions. If you answer correctly, she might let you go. At least for a while. Urban legends only survive when they're passed on. If you want more stories like these, subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with someone who loves horror. Because once you hear these stories, they don't really leave you.